Number 16, this is 1991 P Jefferson Nickel in MS67 condition. Comes with full steps designation, which is characterized with fully struck and delineated steps on Monticello building on the reverse. 1999 P nickel is very scarce in MS67 grade with fully struck motifs, and therefore this gem fetched the sum of $1,051.88 with buyer's fee at auction. Number 15, yet another nickel, this one from wartime, 1941 D 5-cent piece with 5 full steps, graded in mint state 68 by NGC. Softly frosted surfaces yield a tinge of light golden toning over this high-end superb gem. The strike is bold, ranking this piece among the finest examples of the date known with full steps. Eye appeal is pleasing. It was sold for $3,120 in 2023. Number 14, this is 1955 Lincoln cent with double die obverse, graded in mint state 62 brown by PCGS. This is a glossy, medium brown example of the iconic Lincoln cent error. Always in demand regardless of grade, it is especially desirable when the sharp and problem-free such as this MS62 brown example with powder blue accents. The cherry pickers and guidebook varieties, the 1955 double die obverse also ranks among the 100 greatest US coins. The present coin shows bold doubling on the date, Liberty, and in God We Trust, and is housed in a green label holder. It was sold for $3,360. Number 13, here is marvelous error coin. This is 1920 Buffalo nickel struck on a cent planchet. Previous owner or someone else cleaned this coin, as PCGS assigned genuine AU details with clean designation. A wrong planchet mint error involving the popular Buffalo nickel type. Struck on a bronze cent planchet but with most of the design present, including the date, Liberty, and America, have a distorted appearance due to color unrestrained metal flow during the strike. Ruby red and gold brown toning ensures the eye appeal. It was sold for $4,080. Number 12, 1962 D Washington quarter in MS67 condition. The number 68 indicates a coin's grade on the Sheldon numerical grading scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. MS67 is an excellent grade, indicating a coin with few, if any, imperfections. Strong silvery white luster yields to the trace of light golden toning around the borders on this nearly pristine superb gem. It ended up selling for $4,758.75. Number 11, here is 1959 Washington quarter in MS67 condition with CAC approval. According to Heritage, prior to 1959, mint sets were issued in cardboard and paper holders with high sulfur content that created lovely iridescent toning. However, beginning in 1959, the mint switched to a thin plastic packaging that protected the coins from toning. For that reason, 1959 through 1964 silver coins are seldom found with any toning. This impressive exception to that rule exhibits lovely gold, blue, and violet on both sides, with brilliant underlying mint frost. This nearly perfect example was sold for $4,700. Number 10, this is 1990 No S Lincoln cent in PR69 red deep cameo condition. No S proofs of various denominations are highly sought after among error specialists and key date modern issue collectors as well. The 1990 No S cent saw moderate distribution inside San Francisco proof sets, and a few hundred pieces are known today, largely in red deep cameo grades. Still, this nearly flawless example is conditionally scarce. Starkly contrasted golden orange surfaces provide outstanding sharpness and tremendous visual appeal. It was sold for $4,800. Number 9, moving on with this attractively toned 1958 D Washington quarter in MS67 Plus condition, vivid Iridescent hues frames obverse of this high-end superb gem. Only a portion of Washington's neck remains free of the color. Rainbow toning also runs around the outer edge of the lower half of the reverse. It was sold for $4,700. Number 8. 1911 Lincoln Cent in PR67 red and brown condition. Much of the proof 1911 cent population is split between the brown and red and brown categories, with a lesser number of coins in full red. However, any superb gem example is a rarity regardless of color. This red and brown piece displays a full strike and uniform amber brown patina with the red and lavender accents. It was sold for $4,920. Number 7. 1943 S Jefferson Nickel in MS68 condition with full steps. The 1943 S is a plentiful silver alloy war nickel issue, although it becomes a major condition rarity in lofty MS68 full steps grade. This satin example is pristine and sharp, light golden interior luster sees to russet and olive border toning, producing ample eye appeal. It was sold for $5,640 on July 20, 2023. Number 6. A 1970D Kennedy $1 graded as MS67 is relatively rare and valuable, but its specific value can vary depending on several factors. The 1970D Kennedy $1 is notable because it's one of the lower mintage years in the series. While it's not rare as 1970 SMS version, it still has a lower mintage compared to other years, which can contribute to its collectible value. The grade MS67 indicates that the coin is in uncirculated condition, with only minor imperfections. In these high grades, the coin is considered to be in exceptional condition and desirable to collectors. The value of a coin will depend on its condition and demand from collectors, and overall market conditions at the time of sale. Typically, coins graded MS67 can command a premium over lower grade coins, but prices can fluctuate over the time. For example, this particular gem was sold for $9,843.75 with buyer's fee. Number 5. 1965 Roosevelt dime struck on a silver planchet left over from 1964. Rare transitional error. Graded in mint state 62 by PCGS, bright silver with a trace of toning on the lower reverse, and lustrous throughout according to Stack's powers, while seemingly innocuous this has all the usual appearance of typical silver Roosevelt dime. But the date of 1965 is when the clad sandwich metal coinage began. There are few of these known of metal old planchet strikings, but very few, especially in mint state, as these would easily have slipped into circulation unnoticed, as silver coins dominated the coins in circulation for a few years after the clad coins were launched in 1965. Similar in error to the famed 1943 copper cents, where a handful of leftover planchets were struck in hopper and when coinage began in the new year slipped into production unnoticed. One of the great mint errors of 1960s and an important and rare coin for the specialist. It was sold for $16,450. Number 4. This is 2000 P Sacagawea dollar struck on an Anthony dollar planchet, graded in MS68 condition by NGC. Intense cartwheel luster springs boldly throughout the near-perfect gem surfaces of this important off-metal, wrong planchet error dollar. The strike is sharp and crisp on both sides, with even the tiniest of the details fully represented. Low magnification reveals two light vertical die cracks on Sacagawea's portrait, both beginning on her forehead. The host planchet of the present rarity, a copper-nickel clad Susan B. Anthony dollar blank composed of an outer core of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to an inner layer of pure copper, is no doubt from the Susan B. Anthony coinage of the year 1999. As described in the 100 Greatest U.S. Error Coins written by Nicholas P. Brown, David J. Kemire, and Fred Weinberg, this type of error coin came about when a leftover planchet intended to be struck for 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar dies was actually struck by Sacagawea dollar dies. This is referred to as an off-metal transitional error, and it is very rare. It was sold for $16,450. Number 3, here is 1921 D Mercury dime in MS66 Plus condition with full bands, a boldly lustrous gem with broadly sweeping cartwheels, and pale champagne gold highlights. The surfaces are mark-free and satiny, and the eye appeal is substantial for the grade. The strike is bold and crisp throughout, as should be expected. The mintage for the date, over 1 million pieces, represents the second lowest production run of the design type, taking back seat to just the 1916D rarity. It was sold for $22,325. Number 2, this is 1964 Jefferson Nickel from Special Mint set. Also comes with full steps designation, a lovely example of this elusive 1964 Special Mint set coinage that was apparently produced to test the finishes of 1965-1967 SMS sets. The estimate of sets produced range from 20 to 50, although some of them may have been lost to attrition, but other sets may still be out there. This piece shows an amazing sculptural depth of detail that is uniformly absent on business strikes, yet fully equal to the strike on proof coin. The finish, however, is non-reflective, with heavy dye polishing lines that are seen with variations on the 1964 SMS coinage. This rarity was sold for $32,900. And this is 1944 D Lincoln cent struck on a leftover zinc-plated steel planchet, graded in mint state 62 by PCGS. Deep steel grade with marginally lighter high points. Low magnification reveals a small patch of light roughness around the Lincoln's forehead, and at trust, a trivial matter given the strong rarity of the issue, and probably the cause of its mint state 62 ranking. No doubt struck early in 1944 in Denver, when steel blanks of 1943 were being ushered out of system to make way for the 1944 cent. It is presumed that a small number of steel zinc planchets were stuck in press hoppers or tot bins. It was sold for $96,937.50. Number 17, this is 1942 Washington quarter in PR66 Plus condition. According to NGC, proof sales rose about 40% over those of 1941 and would continue their rapid climb were it not for the interruption of the World War II. This turned out to be the last year of proof coinage until 1950. The Philadelphia Mint coined some 28,000 proof quarters just to have 21,000 offered for sale. An additional 123 appear in published figures, but these coins were reserved for essay and subsequently destroyed. The proof quarters of 1942 were well made overall, though the problem of the over-polished dies left many coins with poor or missing details among the design features of the lowest relief. Gems are plentiful through PF67, but examples grading higher are very rare. These PR66 Plus specimen ended up selling for $216. Number 16, 1981 S Kennedy half dollar in PR70 deep cameo condition. This is a rare, clear as mint mark style of the proof 1981 S half dollar, represented here by a pristine low pop PCGS PR70 deep cameo. Silky smooth surfaces are untoned apart from a few swirls of pale gold tinting in the center of obverse. It was sold for $690. Number 15, this is 1941 S Jefferson Nickel with repunched mint mark S over S, graded as MS65 by PCGS. Not only is a large S mint mark style scarce for 1941 S Jefferson Nickel, but the present example exhibits a secondary S south of the primary mint mark. Silver grade surfaces are fully lustrous and expectably smooth at the gem grade level. It was sold for $1,840. Number 14, this is 1950 S Washington quarter in MS67 condition, attractively toned superb gem. The peripheries of this dazzling coin display partial halos of crimson orange, pale gold, and powder blue iridescence. brilliant in the centers and frosty throughout. Both sides are nice enough to suggest an even higher superb gem rating. It ended up selling for $2,880. Number 13, here is 1945 P Jefferson Nickel in MS67 condition, with remarkably vivid tonic and multiple colors, blanketing smooth, frosty features. According to PCGS census, a grading service certified 1980 specimens in MS67 grade, with only 4 numerically finer. This example was sold for $3,737.50. Number 12. This is 1965 Jefferson Nickel from Special Mint set, a profound strike and condition rarities that combines an uncommon degree of field to device contrast for the type with virtually pristine surfaces, and toned with captivating silver-white appearance. The 1965 is the most challenging of the 3 regular issue SMS Jefferson Nickels of the 1960s to locate with deep cameo designation from PCGS. This proof gem ended up selling for $3,120. Number 11. Here is 1953 Washington Quarter in PR68 deep cameo condition. Brilliant silver-white surfaces offer strong contrast between frosty design elements and deeply mirrored fields. From a mintage of 128,800 pieces for this 1950s proof Washington Quarter issue, precious few of which combine a deep cameo finish with superb gem preservation, it was sold for $4,080. Number 10. This is 2001 P Sacagawea dollar struck on a Kentucky State Quarter, graded in Mint State 66 by NGC. According to Heritage, Kentucky is faintly evident near Liberty. The 2001 date is perceptibly beneath a slumbering infant, and the outline of the horse's head is also lightly apparent. According to the consignor, a well-known mint error specialist, this is the sole known example of a Sacagawea struck on a Kentucky Quarter. A few degrees uncentered toward 5 o'clock. It was sold for $5,750. Number 9. Here is 1990D Lincoln Cent in MS64 brown condition, an error penny struck on a pre-1983 copper planchet. In 1990s, the Mint was 8 years into using copper-plated zinc planchets that weighed only 2.5 grams. To say that the existence of this coin is unusual is an understatement. Struck at the Denver Mint, this piece likely owes its creation to the same unknown circumstances that produced the 1989D copper cent. Planchets were handled in bulk during manufacturing process, and the most wrong planchet errors are attributed to the planchets of one denomination or alloy becoming lodged in hoppers or other machinery only to spring loose in a stock of another year or denomination. The 1943 copper cents were created in this fashion as well. This rare error penny was sold for $5,640. Number 8. This is 2000 P Maryland Quarter struck on a clad dime planchet, graded as MS64 by PCGS. The old line state is complete, as is virtually all of Maryland and Liberty. The mint mark is near the rim, but identifiable. State quarters struck on dimes are rarely encountered due to improved riddlers, and this lustrous and problem-free example was sold for $6,325. Number 7 here is 2000 P Sacagawea dollar in MS68 condition, graded in Mint State 68 by NGC. The so-called Cheeriest dollars were distributed as a promotional gimmick in boxes of breakfast cereal. The characteristics that distinguish them from ordinary 2000 P Sacagawea dollar is detailed feather work on the eagle's tail feathers. This example is exceptionally well preserved, with bright, semi-reflective brass gold surfaces. It is housed in a custom 2-coin NGC slab with 2000 Lincoln cent, which is graded MS66 red. It was sold for $6,600. Number 6 here is 1938 Washington Quarter in MS67 plus condition. CEC proven wonderful 25-cent piece, a marvelous superb gem example that should please even the most demanding specialists in the series. Absolutely full striking definition and satiny, pristine surfaces are evident on two sides of this impressive piece. It ended up selling for $7,343.75. Number 5. This is 1932 D. Lincoln Center MS67 red condition, a brilliant superb gem with fire orange surfaces and frosty mint luster. This Denver Mint Depression era scent has exceptional eye appeal. Sharply struck design motifs are noted on both sides, and the pristine surfaces are virtually mark-free with minimal carbon flakes. It was sold for $8,225. Number 4. This is 1958 Lincoln Center MS67 Plus red condition. More than $250 million 1958 cents were struck, but very few survive in superb gem condition with the PCGS Plus designation. This specimen comes with distinctive lilac accents around the Lincoln's head and rich reddish-orange colors throughout the incredibly smooth, sharply struck surfaces. Eye appeal is tremendous. It fetched the sum of $9,000. Number 3. This is 1939 Jefferson Nickel with reverse of 1938, graded as PR68 by PCGS. According to Stex Powers, silky smooth surfaces are adorned with beautiful silver rose, powder blue, and pale gold iridescence, uniformly mirrored in finish, with a full strike and the strongest technical merits available in approved Jefferson Nickel of this date. It was sold for $18,400. Number 2. This is 1909 VDB Lincoln Cent Proof red gem in PR65 condition, the rarest of the proof Lincoln Cents in the 1909 VDB. Only 1,194 coins were produced, and yet its issue is even scarcer than that mintage suggests. Later mud proofs such as 1915 and 1916 have even lower mintage, and yet they are more plentiful today than 1909 VDB. Some researchers suggest that only part of reported mintage was ever released, which if true, could account for the scarcity of this issue today. It was sold for $33,600. Number 1. And this is 1932 D. Washington Quarter in MS65 Plus condition. Billowy satin luster greets the viewer from both sides of this smooth, highly attractive silver-tinged gem. Impressive technical quality and eye appeal for this key date and conditionally challenging issue from the first year of the Washington Quarter series. Though the 1932 D's mintage of 436,800 pieces is nearly 30,000 more than its San Francisco Mint counterpart at grades of EF40 or finer, the 1932 D becomes the key date of the series. This specimen ended up selling for $41,125. Subscribe. Number 16, 1942 Washington Quarter in PR67 Plus condition. Struck in the final year of proof coinage until 1950. By 1942, proof production was way up, and 21,123 pieces were produced, fully brilliant and extremely reflective, with just a faint whisper of gold iridescence at the reverse periphery of this gem. It was sold for $1,680. Number 15, here is 1978 D. Eisenhower dollar in MS67 condition. According to Stex Powers, roughly handled by Treasury Department employees and bank personnel, circulation strike Ike dollars as a type are rare in superb gem mint state. This final year Denver Mint example is impressively smooth with subtle toning in iridescent powder blue and champagne apricot. It was sold for $1,140. Number 14, this is 1938 Washington Quarter in PR68 condition, a virtually pristine superb gem with mottled pastel toning to universally mirrored surfaces, impressive condition rarity from a mintage of 8,045 proofs, one of the most limited in the Washington Quarter series. It ended up selling for $2,280. Number 13, this is 1974 Eisenhower dollar in MS66 Plus condition. Predominantly pearl gray surfaces reveal intermingled powder blue, olive gold, and pale pink highlights under a light. Expertly produced and very carefully preserved. With a mintage of more than 27 million coins, the 1974 copper nickel Eisenhower dollar is not a rare issue. However, not a lot of attention was paid to it at the time of production and few gems are known. Several factors account for lack of nice examples. They were carelessly made and had overall low relief, making them more susceptible to early wear, especially when jostled around in pockets or stored in sacks. These MS66 Plus specimens fetched a sum of $2,640 at auction. Number 12, here is 1984 Lincoln penny with double diverse, otherwise doubled ear Lincoln, graded in mid-state 68 red by PCGS. Lincoln's earlobe is clearly die-doubled northeast, and his beard also shows doubling, a popular guidebook variety seldom encountered in essentially perfect condition. Even the use of glass fails to locate a contact or carbon. It was sold for $3,450. Number 11, moving on with his 1971 Jefferson Nickel proof, graded as PR69 Cameo by NGC. What makes this proof coin so valuable is that S mint mark is missing on a verse, while the proof Roosevelt Time series has a number of no S varieties. Only one such variety is recognized for the larger Jefferson Nickel. This high-end no S proof from 1971 has outstanding contrast and virtually flawless surfaces. The mirrors in particular are remarkable. It ended up selling for $3,450. Number 10, another Air Nickel 1942 5-cent piece struck on a Lincoln set, otherwise called double denomination error coin, graded as MS64 brown by PCGS. According to Heritage, this war nickel was struck on a copper set. Lincoln is nearly inverted relative to Monticello. The outline of his head is readily evident. The truncation of his coat arcs across E pluribus unum. On the obverse, the NT from the cent is apparent on Jefferson's cheek. The chocolate brown surfaces retain hints of brick red. The nickel mint mark is bold. It was sold for $5,760. Number 9, this 1920 Lincoln cent struck on an experimental planchet. Graded in mid-state 64 by PCGS, the PCGS insert states alloy is 82% copper, 16% zinc, and 2% tin. Which cents, aside from 1943 dated steel issues, are typically 95% copper. This satiny and well-struck cent has olive gold color unusual for a Lincoln cent of any year, essentially devoid of marks, though we note small spots near the ST in the truss and relatively small spot east of the Lincoln's nose. The obverse ring between 1:30 and 3 o'clock has a few minute depressions as made. It ended up selling for $5,280. Number 8, here is 1943 P Jefferson Nickel struck on a steel cent planchet, graded as MS64 by NGC. An amazingly lustrous steel white example of this 1-year-only error type, wherein a 1943 P war nickel was struck on a blank meant for steel sand production. The date and the mint mark are visible in the entirety, though certain elements at the left peripheral on each side are partly cut off. It fetched a sum of $9,775. Number 7. Moving on with his 1929S Lincoln cent in MS66 Plus wet condition. The 1929S is one of more challenging issues in the Lincoln cent series in gem or finer full red grades, and it is rare at the premium gem red level. Satiny copper orange luster encompasses each side, while the design elements show above average definition. A few tiny carbon specks are noted upon close examination, though the surfaces are otherwise beautifully preserved. It was sold for $14,400. Number 6, here is 1944 Washington quarter struck on a zinc-plated steel planchet. graded in mint state 62 by NGC. A magnetic zinc-plated steel sands were struck in 1943, and the alloy was also used in 1944 to strike a much smaller quantity of 2 francs at Philadelphia Mint for war-torn Belgium. One of the aforementioned zinc-plated steel sands, in use for only 2 years, ended up between 1944 Washington quarter dies to become these of metal mint error. The present mint state example was struck flush with color die near 6 o'clock and has a bold date. Liberty and the denomination are altogether absent. This wartime error quarter was sold for $16,800. Number 5. This is 1932 D Washington quarter. Graded in mint state 65 by PCGS. Grade was later proven by CAC. The classic Washington quarter silver series from 1932 to 1964 is one that a new generation of collector has moved into backwards, so to speak. The wide popularity and success of statehood quarter series drew literally millions of new collectors into numismatics, many of them casual, but the percentage became quite serious. Some collectors have now expanded their acquisitions backward in the class issues of 1965 later, as well as the even earlier silver pieces, but the 1932D remains a stopper of the series for the new collectors. The few gems available are capstone for the finest registry sets as well as the finest grade obtainable. The present example boasts impressive mint luster over near brilliant surfaces. It was sold for $17,250. Number 4. This is 1923 piece dollar double struck, second strike off center. Date and motto in God We Trust is not fully struck. Backside of a coin displays poor impression as well. Graded in mint state 64, this error coin ended up selling for $18,000. Number 3. Here is 1926 D Buffalo Nickel with attractive toning. Graded in mint state 67 by NGC. According to Heritage, no other issue in the series has quite the same reputation as the 1926 D. That reputation is one for poor production quality, lackluster surfaces, and incomplete detail. While strike alone was not the culprit, the Denver Mint did use dyes well past their normal life as a cost-cutting measure. This elusive 1926D is simply exceptional. It was sold for $38,400. Number 2. This is 1923 S Lincoln Cent in MS65 red condition. The 1923 S is a challenging issue in the red color category, most often seen in MS64 but occasionally in MS63. Gem red pieces are notably rare. This coin is showing satiny copper orange and golden hues with well-struck design elements and remarkably little evidence of die fatigue. A few microscopic flecks are discernible on each side. It was sold for $60,000. Number 1, and the most expensive lot of this episode, 1926 S Lincoln Cent in MS65 red condition. During 1940s and 50s, collectors retrieved numerous 1926 S cents from circulation, providing a supply of worn pieces for modern numismatists. However, circulated representatives become noticeably more elusive in AU levels, and mint state examples of this issue are all more challenging to locate, particularly with original red color. Most mint state examples known are either attractively lustrous but poorly struck, or sharply impressed but toned brown. This specimen is fully lustrous. Satiny orange gold surfaces yield boldly rendered design elements, and the eye appeal is nothing short of remarkable for the issue. It ended up selling for $102,000. Number 15. This is error 1976 S half dollar in PR65, red and brown condition, elusive specimen double struck on a cent planchet. According to Heritage, bicentennial half dollars were struck for only 2 years, 1975 and 1976. The short-lived type is seldom encountered in off-metal form, particularly with a widely separated double strike. The first strike was widely off-center toward 7:30. The second strike is moderately off-center toward 10:30. From the first strike, portions of Independence Hall remain at 1:30 and 3 o'clock, and portions of Kennedy's ear and neckline are present near 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock relative to the second strike. This one was sold for $5,280. Here is 1974 Jefferson Nickel struck on a 1974 Lincoln set, graded in mint state 65 red and brown condition by NGC. An impressive double denomination 6-cent piece. Lincoln's statue can be seen within the pillars of the Lincoln Memorial. Across the jaw of Jefferson, on the reverse, Lincoln's beard and bow tie face south near the steps of Monticello. Portions of 1 cent and In God We Trust are retained from the cent strike. This error nickel ended up selling for $5,040. Number 13. This is 1966 Washington quarter in mid-state 68. The 1966 Washington quarter was struck in staggering numbers. However, numismatic interest in the issue as a whole was generally non-existent until the recent escalation of registry set competition. Decades of commercial use reduced what might have been a universal common coin to one that is conditionally rare in topmost grades. PCGS reports 6 coins in MS68 with just single finer. It was sold for $5,760. Number 12. 1970s Lincoln cent with double die obverse, graded in mint state 65 red by PCGS. Die doubling on this cherry pickers variety is strong on In God We Trust and Liberty, with lesser doubling on the date. Satiny copper orange luster complements boldly struck design elements with no major abrasions or spots. Eye appeal is tremendous. It was sold for $5,520. Number 11. Here is 1/10 of Balboa struck on a proof US dime planchet, graded as PR67 by NGC, a nearly pristine representative of this scarce mint error, struck on a proof dime planchet and clearly the product of decidedly bold strike as would be expected from any modern proof, flashy with a hint of subdued haze appearing to lend steely blue appearance, creating a wholly intriguing representative, booming with visual character. It was sold for $6,000. Number 10. Here is 1976S Silver Bicentennial Quarter, graded as MS69 by PCGS. The silver 1976S Bicentennial Quarter is an issue not typically seen in an auction setting, unless of course it is PCGS certified MS69. This top-grade registry coin is frosty and brilliant, showing a sharp strike and virtually flawless surfaces. It was sold for $6,600. Number 9. This is 1969 D Kennedy Elf dollar in MS67 plus condition. Those building a color set of Kennedy Elves can add a capstone to the collection with this plus graded 1969 D, which is imbued with fiery rainbow colors on both sides. Struck with silver content, the 1969 D is important as a final Kennedy Elf issue, earmarked for commercial circulation with that alloy. It is also one of the rarest dates in the series, in MS67 or finer condition. It was sold for $6,600. Number 8. 1963 Franklin half dollar in MS66 condition with full bell lines. The final year issue from the Philadelphia Mint is challenging to acquire in gem or better full bell lines grades. Both sides are sharp and satiny, showing brilliant mint luster. Not a single mentionable abrasion is noted. It was sold for $6,600. Number 7. This is 1977's Lincoln cent struck on a 10-cent planchet, graded as PR68 Ultra Cameo by NGC. A remarkably attractive silver-colored cent showing liquid-like mirroring throughout the fields and frosty luster across the brilliant devices. Detail is sharp and contrast is dramatic on both sides. The lower obverse and upper reverse rim is incompletely filled by the dime planchet. It ended up selling for $7,500. Number 6. Here is 1971 the Eisenhower dollar in mint state 67 plus. The clad Eisenhower dollar issues as a whole are condition rarities in top grades, as they were produced at high speed with no concern for quality. Unlike the collector pieces issued each year in San Francisco, the 1971 Philadelphia and Denver dollars were likely saved in higher quantities than their later years. This amazing superb gem is a stunner with pristine and highly lustrous surfaces that display brilliant gold, lavender blue, maize, and rose toning. It was sold for $10,200. This is Bicentennial Kennedy off dollar. 1976 S 50-cent piece in MS-69 condition. The nation's bicentennial celebration was widely celebrated at the time, and special reverse designs for the quarter, half dollar, and dollar were created to mark the occasion. The coins all showed a dual 1776-1976 date on obverse. The half-dollar reverse was Independence Hall. As centerpiece was designed by Seth G. Huntington. In addition to a regular issue clad coinage, 11 million silver-clad uncirculated specimens were struck and offered in sets, and 4 million silver-clad proofs were struck for collectors. This magnificent silver-clad MS-69 specimen exhibits sharply detailed design elements throughout, and virtually flawless surfaces are lustrous and appealing. It was sold for $9,000